national anthem, we're just about set for action here at the Polo Grounds with Jay Hook on the mound for the New York Mets. Jay, his last outing, went the distance, pitching a strong four-hitter as the Mets beat the Chicago Cubs last Tuesday. That was Jay's second win of the year against a single setback. His other victory was a strong five-hitter that gave the Mets their first win of the season at the expense of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Howie Bedell, the left fielder, will be leading off against Jay Hook. Jay has an earned run average after 5 starts of 3.6. Has won 2, lost 1. His mound opponent today will be 6'4" Cecil Butler. Butler will be making his first major league start. Jay has a lifetime record against the Milwaukee Braves of 3 wins and 7 losses. Now here we go as Howie Bedell, the speedy left fielder, steps in to lead off. Bedell hitting at 221. Left-hand hitter with good size, and he can really fly. Mets with the infield shaded a bit toward right. Marv Throneberry at first, Charlie Neal playing second, Elio Chacon at short, and Felix Mantilla is at third. Here's the windup by Hook, and the first pitch of the game is a strike on the inside corner, a real good live fastball. Frank Thomas in left, Jim Hickman in center field, and around in right field, Gus Bell. Hook on the mound, and Hobie Landreth behind the plate. For the Braves, Bill Adair coaching at third, and Andy Pafko is coaching at first. Wind up in the pitch by Jay Hook, a foul ball wafted back toward the upper deck, and this will be out of play. A lot of games to follow throughout the afternoon. Number of doubleheaders going. In the Yankee game at Cleveland, Johnny Blanchard has homered in the second. Base is clear. It's now Cleveland 3 and the Yankees 1, with the Yankees hitting in the second. A smash through the box, a base hit for Howie Bedell. Jim Hickman glides over in front of it, whips the ball back in, and Howie Bedell on a 2-strike pitch singles to center field to open up the game.
Right fielder, Mac Jones.
That brings up the right fielder, Mac Jones. He was a tough hitter for the New York Mets to get out in yesterday's doubleheader. Jones hitting at 327. He had 2 long hits to the opposite field in the second game yesterday. Now Jay Hook off the stretch. Down comes the pitch. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Mantilla up close at third in the event of a bunt. Felix Mantilla bringing a 14-game hitting streak into today's game against Milwaukee. Kurt Flood of the Cardinals had a 17-game streak for the longest hitting streak of the National League season. Now Howie Bedell with a short lead off first. Throneberry holds against him. Pitch by Hook. Curve that's over. Strike 2 call. Well, Hook now is in front on Mac Jones with a 2-strike count. Two-strike count on Mac Jones. Henry Aaron, the center fielder, on deck. Here's the pitch to him, a ground ball hit toward the hole, backhanded by Chacon, thrown to Neal. First play at second on a beauty of the play by Elio Chacon. Real sparkler turned in by Chacon. Elio had broken towards second with the runner moving. The ground ball was hit back toward his vacated position. Running back, he made a backhand stab and an off-balance throw to Charlie Neal in time to force Howie Bedell. Now the hitter is Hank Aaron. Aaron hitting at 282 with 5 home runs and 16 runs batted in. After 8 years, a lifetime 319 hitter. Now Jay Hook, the young right-hander from Grays Lake, Illinois, turns and throws to first, not in time. Jones leading off first. In comes the pitch. Curve that bends over the outside corner, breaking away from Hank Aaron, and the count strike one. No game tomorrow. The Cubs will be here to open a 2-game series with a night game on Tuesday night and a day game on Wednesday. 2-game series where the Cubs will wind up the current New York Met homestand. The next homestand will open on Decoration Day, the 30th of May, a doubleheader against the Dodgers. Ground ball hammered to shortstop. Chacon fires to Neal. There's one. Neal to Brownberry. Double play. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and none left on. In the middle of the first inning at the Polo Grounds, the score, the Milwaukee Braves 0, and the New York Mets coming to bat. On the mound for the Milwaukee Braves this afternoon, 24-year-old Cecil Butler from Dallas, Georgia. Butler has been used prior to today in relief by Bertie Tebbetts. Has a fine arm. Braves consider him an outstanding pitching prospect, and today he gets his first major league start. Jim Hickman leading off in the last half of the first inning. Jim hitting at .320 with 5 home runs. Outside and high, it's ball 1. The Mets have hit at least 1 home run in every game they have played in the Polo Grounds so far this year. Elio Chacon waiting on deck. Butler out of his windup, fires inside and low. Big, tall right-hander with a good live arm. He had some arm trouble at Louisville last year. He developed a couple of pretty severe blisters on his pitching hand, and perhaps in favoring the blisters, he came up with a sore arm. He wound up the year with 9 and 11, but he finished well. Pitching 2-0. A high fly ball to short left field. Roy McMillan back into shallow left is under it, and he puts it away for the out. That brings up one of the real stars in the double triumph of yesterday, Elio Chacon. As Elio comes up to hit, he has been on base his last 7 times up. Elio hitting at .239. He broke a hit famine in the first game of the doubleheader yesterday. His first 2 times up he failed to hit, but then he broke out. Hit safely his last 2 times up in that first game, and then was on base 5 straight times in the nightcap with 3 hits and 2 walks. And he knocked 3 runs in. Bounced foul off the mask of Del Crandall. The Braves are set up with Joe Adcock at first, Frank Bolling playing second, Roy McMillan at short, and Sammy Samuel at third. In the outfield, Howie Bedell in left, Hank Aaron playing center, and around in right, Mac Jones. Butler on the mound, Del Crandall catching. Now Butler cranks up. Down comes his pitch, outside and high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Tomorrow will be an off day for the Braves, and then they'll go into Pittsburgh to open a series on Tuesday night. The 1-1 delivery to Elio is swung and missed. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Butler, 6'4", weighs 195 pounds. Pitching 1 and 2. Way inside. That one almost nicked him. This fellow really throws hard. Now the count is even at 2 and 2. Bertie Tebbetts has not one, but several very fine young pitching prospects. Pitchers with youth, size, and powerful arms. They come around for him. He'll have another strong mound staff. Now the 2-2 pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Cecil Butler fanning Elio Chacon to break the streak for Elio.
Third position, number 18. Third baseman,
2 outs and nobody on. That brings up Felix Mantilla. Felix hitting .329. He shares the club lead with Frank Thomas in total hits. Each has 28. Here's the pitch to him, and it misses the outside corner. 1 ball and no strikes. Last half of the first inning, no score. Sally Hemus coaching at third and Cookie Lamagetto at first. Now Butler, the tall right-hander, winds and pitches. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 1 strike. Cubs come in for 2 games Tuesday night and Wednesday afternoon. Mets will open their next road trip against the Milwaukee Braves next weekend, playing Friday night, Saturday, and a doubleheader on Sunday. Then they go to Houston for 2 games, Los Angeles for 2, and San Francisco for 4. In the dirt, 2 balls and 1 strike. Count 2-1 on Felix Mantilla. Bounced foul. He went after a curveball, and so the count is even 2-2. Felix has hit safely in 14 straight games. Beginning of the season, Bob Skinner had a 15-game hitting streak, and then Curt Flood, the fine center fielder of the St. Louis Cardinals, had a 17-game streak. Pitching 2-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out on a high hard one. So Cecil Butler gets off to a fast start, fanning 2 of the 3 in the last half of the first inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, none left on. At the end of 1, the score, Braves nothing, and the New York Mets nothing. Big Joe Adcock to lead off against Jay Hook in the top half of the second. Joe could barely talk when the Braves first got to New York. He's had a real bad case of laryngitis. Del Crandall swinging a couple of bats out in the on-deck circle, and Frank Bolling after that. Outside and low, 1 ball, no strikes. Now Jay Hook winds and pitches. Tried a breaking ball, but it missed high. 2 balls and no strikes. Jay, 25 years old, was born in Waukegan, Illinois, makes his home now in Grays Lake. A high pop foul down the right field line. Throneberry moving over, but he has no play. The ball is in the upper deck. Two balls and 1 strike. Last year was a big one for Joe Adcock. 12-year veteran, hit 35 home runs. Pulls up on the swing, and the pitch is over, 2-2. Now Hobie Landreth, crossed behind the plate, setting up the target. An off-speed delivery just misses. He tried to change up on 2-2, and the count goes full now, 3 balls and 2 strikes. Adcock, one of baseball's strongest hitters. Mantilla deep behind the bag and playing the line against him. Elio Chacon deep and short right on the rim of the outfield grass. Pitching 3-2. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Knee-high breaking ball by Jay Hook, and he fans Joe Adcock. That will bring up Del Crandall. Del Crandall. Del hitting at 327. Pitch is over at the knees, strike 1. Yesterday was a good day for Del. Outside and low, 1 ball and 1 strike. Crandall caught the first game yesterday, hit a home run in the second, his 3rd of the year. And in the opener of this series, he had 3 for 5 and knocked 4 runs in with 2 singles and a double. Outside and low, he lays off of it, 2-1. To Del Crandall. The wind-up and pitch by Jay Hook. A smash to short. Off the shins of Elio Chacon. There'll be no throw, and Crandall is on. The ball was hit right at Chacon, but it was really tagged. It's an error charge to Elio Chacon. So the Braves have a runner in Del Crandall, and up to hit is Frank Bolling. Frank hitting .307. Now Jay Hook into his stretch. Marv Throneberry holds against Crandall. And the pitch to Bolling is in the dirt. It bounds away. On his way to second goes Del Crandall. No throw. Wild pitch. Charged to Jay Hook. Breaking ball in the dirt that enables Crandall to move over to second. Frank Bolling, slender right-hand hitter and one of the game's steadiest players, facing Jay Hook. Frank, a 7-year veteran. Last year was his first in the National League, and he made the All-Star team. Wound up the year hitting at .262. Infield pop-up on the left side of the diamond. Now it's being blown toward the mound. Charlie Neal is coming all the way to the first baseline, and he takes it for the out. Wynn got a hold of that pop-up and actually blew it over very close to the first baseline before Neal could take it. Wind is blowing in, angling just a little bit to the point that a ball hit down the left field line probably would be helped some. But anything hit towards center or on the right side of the diamond will be blown back. 2 down. The batter is Sammy Samuel. Right-hand hitter. And the pitch by Hook. And it is a hook that's over for a strike call. Sammy Samuel, outstanding defensive ball player, and if he hits anything at all, he'll be quite a player. Now Jay looking in to take his sign from Hobie Landreth. No score. We're in the top of the second. Ground ball hit down to third to his leftist Mantilla. He's up with it. Throws to Throneberry, and the side is out. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and 1 left on. And now at the end of an inning and a half, the score, Braves nothing and the New York Mets nothing. Coming up in the last half of the second. You know, the Mets, since their 9-game losing streak, have now won 7 and lost 8 since that point, and they've won 4 of their last 5 ball games. Frank Thomas to lead off against Cecil Butler. The warm-ups at St. Louis for the Dodgers, Johnny Padres, and for the Cardinals, Larry Jackson. Fastball over, strike 1 call. Marv Throneberry waiting on deck. He went after a curve, a foul ball off to the left, and the count strike 2. Frank hitting .298 with 8 home runs and 17 runs batted in. Nobody on, nobody out. Last half of the second. Big curve that is swung on and missed, strike 3. Drops the ball. Now Dell picks it up, throws down to Adcock in time to get Thomas. Third strikeout in a row for rookie Cecil Butler. Marv Throneberry to hit against Butler. Marv has been up 5 times since joining the Mets, has 1 hit. Left-handed batting first baseman. Foul tip, no play, strike 1. In comes Marv. A ground ball bounced on the right side of the diamond, fumbled by Bolling, but he picks it up, throws, safe. The throw pulled Adcock off the bag. Bolling scrambled, recovered the ball in time to make the play at first, but his hurried throw pulled Joe Adcock off the base, and Marv Thornberry is on. An error charge to Frank Bolling. Each team now has drawn an error in the game. Coming on to hit will be Gus Bell. Marv Thornberry on first, one man down. No score. We're in the last half of the second. We'll check all the scores of the other games for you at the end of the inning. Now Cecil Butler delivers a fastball in the outside corner, strike one call. Gus made a couple of outstanding plays in the outfield in the doubleheader yesterday. He has really been playing some great defensive ball. Adcock about 2 strides off the bag at first, and the curve is fouled into the dirt right by home plate. 2 strikes. Charlie Neal in the on-deck circle, and then Hobie Landreth. Mets won the opener yesterday on a dramatic 2-out, 2-run homer in the 9th by Hobie Landreth. Won the nightcap on a tremendous upper deck home run to the opposite field by Gil Hodgson. Thornberry edging off first. Pitch to Bell is into the dirt. Breaking ball. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Nothing going tomorrow, but the Cubs are in here for a night game Tuesday night and a day game Wednesday. Ball is popped up down the left field line. Scooting after it is Sammy Samuel. He's in foul ground, and he has it for the out. 2 men down as Bell fouls out to the third baseman. Now the hitter is Charlie Neal. Charlie batting at .276 with 3 home runs and 11 RBIs. Facing Cecil Butler. Butler, 6'4" right-hander. He's 24 years old. Starts him off with a fastball, but it misses high. 1 ball and no strikes. Mets today playing their 15th game of the season at the Polo Grounds, and the first 14 games they've hit at least 1 home run. They're hoping to keep that record going today. He holds up on the swing, and the curve is outside. Ball 2, 2-0. Pitch, a line drive over second, a base hit into center field for Charlie Neal. Thornberry around second is on his way to third, and he'll go into third standing up. Now the Mets have runners at the corners, and Hobie Landreth coming up the hit. Hard line drive over second into center field, a clean hit for Charlie Neal. Hobie was the man of the hour in the come-from-behind win in the first game yesterday. Hobie hitting .409 on 9 hits and 22 times up. Runners at first and third now. Jay Hook, his warm-up jacket draped around his shoulders, has come out in the on-deck circle, and Jay will be watching Cecil Butler, and at the same time loosening up his shoulders. Breaking ball over, strike 1 call. Jay always occupies the on-deck circle when he's pitching a ball game. Red Ruffing, who was one of the best hitters of all the pitchers in the history of the game, used to always like to come out in the circle. Pitch to Hobie Landreth. Misses outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. One and one on Hobie Landreth. Runners at first and third. There are 2 away. We're in the last of the second. No score. Butler makes the 1 second stop. Now the pitch. He lays off of it. It's inside and high. Ball 2. 2 and 1. Roy McMillan pulled over towards second against Hobie Landreth. Frank Bolling back on the rim of the right field grass. Adcock about 2 strides behind Charlie Neal. Marv Throneberry, who reached safely on an error and raced to third on Neal's hit, leads down off third. Curve inside. Hobie started to go, then thought better of it, and the count is 3 and 1. Delivery. Curve in the dirt. Ball 4, and that loads the bases and brings up Jay Hook. Jay hitting .333 on 3 for 9 with 2 RBIs. When he won his first game beating Pittsburgh, he came up early in the ball game with the bases loaded. The Mets in front 2-0, and he was facing Bob Beely, the 6'6" rookie left-hander of the Pirates. Beely can really throw hard. But Hook came up and banged a base hit to right center field, driving 2 runs in to really send the Mets off flying in the game. Now he's hoping he can do the same. Marv Throneberry leading down off third. Charlie Neal off second. Hobie Landreth off first. Butler using the full windup. Pitch to Hook. A smash hit hard. Backhanded by McMillan. He throws to second to rob him of a base hit. Highway robbery in broad daylight. A beautiful play by Roy McMillan. He took a base hit away and saved a couple of runs. That ball was really slammed by Hook toward the hole on the left side of the infield. And Roy McMillan, a fine defensive player all his life, just whirled, made it across the body, backhand pickup, then had plenty of time to throw to second for the force play to retire the side. Great defensive play by Roy McMillan. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error, and 3 left on. At the end of 2, the score, Braves nothing and the Mets nothing. Right here, we're going along to the 3rd inning. The ball game scoreless on quite a fielding play by Roy McMillan. And now as the Braves come up to hit in the 3rd inning, coming up here just as dapper as he can be is Mr. Ralph Kiner.
Bob Murphy, and as it so often happens, Roy McMillan, who turned in a great play to keep the Mets from scoring, is the leadoff man here in the top of the 3rd. Well, he's made many, many great plays. He's considered one of the best fielding shortstops in the history of the National League. Jay Hook with his first pitch, a curveball. It breaks on the outside corner. Strike 1 called. Hook making his 6th appearance of the season. They've all been starting appearances. He has a record of 2 wins and 1 loss. And the 1-strike pitch to the right-handed batter is pulled foul down the left field line. Strike 2. Ball bouncing off of the upper deck railing. And actually off of the Viceroy side. Now Jay Hook back to the plate with a 2-strike pitch. It's high, ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes. In a scoreless ball game, the Milwaukee Braves will send up here in the top of the 3rd Roy McMillan, Cecil Butler, and Howie Bedell in that order. 8th, 9th, and 1st place positions in the batting order. Now Hook outside with the 1-2 pitch. The count now 2 balls, 2 strikes. McMillan batting .244 for the season, has 1 home run and 9 runs batted in. Jay Hook back to the plate. A let-up that's popped away in foul territory, so the count will hold at 2-2. McMillan last year in his first season for the Milwaukee Braves hit .220. He's not much of an average hitter. He has pretty good power. And he can surprise you with a home run at times. Jay Hook back, a ground ball going through the hole in the left field, a base hit. McMillan rounds first base and holds there as Thomas throws in to Elias Chacon. So the second base hit of the game off Jay Hook, Roy McMillan at first base, and that will bring up Cecil Butler, the pitcher. Butler has yet to get a base hit this year. He has a 0 batting average, a right-handed batter. And Felix Mantilla at third base, moving in, looking for the possible bunt. No one out. It's the top of the third, no score. Here comes the first baseman. The attempt at the bunt, foul tip, strike one. Ball is dropped by Hobie Landreth. And at first base, remaining there, Roy McMillan. No balls, one strike. Jay Hook with the sign. He checks his runner at first base. And the pitch to the plate. Down low, a curveball. Butler squared around, but he took it, so it's ball one. 1 ball, 1 strike. At the end of one, Philadelphia at Chicago. No score. Throw to first base, but McMillan back easily. In the American League, it's 3-1 in favor of Cleveland at the end of 2. Now Hook back to the plate, inside, and again, Butler squaring around the bunt and taking, so it's ball 2, strike 1. Outfield straight away, and at first base and third base, players looking for the bunt. There's the square around. He bunts but doesn't get the ball. It goes strike 2. So now they count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bill Adair, the third base coach, he's giving the sign now whether or not to hit away or to bunt. At first base, Andy Patko. Elias Chacon and Charlie Neal moving back, looking for the hit away and a double play. There's a square arm for the bunt. He takes it. Ball, strike 3. So Cecil Butler, attempting to bunt, takes the pitch, and he's called out on strikes, and that's strikeout number 2 for Jay Hook. 1 man down here in the top of the third, and it brings up Howie Bedell. Bedell picked up a base hit as the leadoff man in the ball game when he singled to center field. He was erased later on a double play. Bedell, a left-handed batter, came on at 221. He has good speed. First pitch to him, a curveball that hangs just above the letters, ball 1. Bedell last year played at Louisville. He had a fine .327 average there. He led the league with 15 triples. And also he led the league in base hits with 194. Next pitch to him is popped up in foul territory, back of home plate and going out of play. Coming back to chase the ball all the way back to the stands, Hobie Landreth. So the count now, 1 ball and 1 strike. No score in the game, 1 man out. Bedell last year hit in 43 consecutive ball games, which tied the American Association record. He just missed leading the league in batting. Missed by a single percentage point. Now time call as the home plate umpire, Stan Landis, has trouble with his mask. He broke the strap on his mask, so he'll have to use another one. Last night we had a long conversation with Stan Landis in regard to some of the playing rules. One of them being the rule that the catcher can go into the dugout to make a catch. Stan at one time was a ball player, so he's got the ball player's angle going for him too. Now time in, a new mask on Stan Landis, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Jay Hook on the mound with a runner at first base. And his next pitch to the plate is taken down low, ball 2. 2 balls and a strike. The ball getting away from Hobie Landreth, but he got on it quickly. And McMillan at first base held there. Hook with a record of 2 wins and 1 loss. He defeated Pittsburgh for the first victory for the New York Mets. Won that game 9-1, and he helped his own cause by throwing to first base, but no play. Helped his own cause by getting a big base hit, driving in 2 runs in that game. Then he picked up a win against the Chicago Cubs. The 2-1 pitch to Bedell. Outside, ball 3. So now they count 3 balls and 1 strike. In that Chicago game, Jay Hook went all the way. He's had 2 complete games, and he gave up only 4 hits. This is his 6th appearance. Now the 3-1 pitch to Bedell. High, ball 4. And that'll move McMillan 90 feet down to second base. And that's the first walk given up by Jay Hook. Puts runners at first and second. One man out, and Mac Jones steps in. Jones was retired on a great play by Elias Chacon when Chacon went deep in the hole. So here is Mac Jones batting .327, a left-handed batter. He has good power to left field. Also has good power all the way around, left center and right field. First pitch to the left-handed batter is a slow curveball called strike 1. Jay Hook dropping a curve down around the knees. Jones has 4 home runs and 14 runs batted in. He's another one of their fine prospects, Milwaukee prospects. Now the 1-strike pitch to Jones. Swung on and missed. Strike 2. Another curveball. This time a little bit lower than the other one. So Hook with runners at first and second and 1 out. The score 0-0. Out in front of Mac Jones with a 2-strike count. Jones broke into the major leagues with a pretty good day, a perfect 4-for-4 day. That was last year. He takes high inside, ball 1. Very unusual to break in like that. In fact, only 2 other players in the history of baseball have ever broken into the major leagues with a 4-for-4 day. One of them, Casey Stengel, back in 1912, and the other, Willie McCovey. I think Al Moore was playing in that game that Casey Stengel was playing in. Jay Hook squares around to second base and then goes to first. He did not throw the ball. That's a pet play that the New York Mets use. This time, no one moving. 1-2 pitch to Jones. Fouled down on the ground, and the count will hold at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jones last year hit .231 for Milwaukee. He also played at Louisville, where he hit .326. Six foot 1, 180 pounds. Wind is blowing in from center field. A tough day for any ball hit to center field. Now the 1-2 pitch by Jay Hook. Outside, ball 2. 2 balls and 2 strikes with 1 out, no score in the game. Jones batting .327. Hook into the windup, and the pitch back to the plate. Ball, strike 3. And Mac Jones stands there, a little stunned, as Jay Hook picks up his 3rd strikeout of the ball game, and that's out number 2. And it brings up Henry Aaron. 2 strikeouts in this inning by Jay Hook, both called. Here comes Henry Aaron, a right-handed batter. Hanking into a double play his first time up. He came into the game with a 282 average. Number 44, and he certainly hits that ball well. Runners at first and second with short leads. As Jay Hook comes to the plate to Aaron with a curveball, it's outside, ball 1. Aaron has 5 home runs and 16 runs batted in this year. He's had some great years in baseball. Last year, he hit .327, for example, with 34 home runs and 120 runs batted in. A let-up that's outside, ball 2. .1957, Aaron hit his number, 44. That led the league, and he had 132 runs batted in that year to lead the league. Last year, he had 39 two-base hits, which led the league. Also 10 triples. 2 balls and no strikes as Hook comes back with a curveball, ball 3. So now Jay Hook with a 3-0 count to Henry Aaron with 2 men out. Runners at first and second base. There's no score in the game. For a guy that weighs only 170 pounds, Aaron has tremendous power. And he's an amazing athlete. He has missed only 12 games during the past 7 seasons. Last year, he played in every game that Milwaukee played. Now the 3-0 pitch to Aaron. Swung on, fouled away. Has participated in 7 consecutive All-Star games. Jay Hook with 2-1 pitch to Aaron on the ground to the third baseman Mantilla. He takes it, goes across the diamond to Marv Thornberry for out number 3. So Hook works out of a jam in the third inning. As the Milwaukee Braves in the third pick up 1 hit, they scored no runs. There were no errors, and 2 men were left on. And the score at the end of 2 1/2 innings of play. The Milwaukee Braves nothing, the New York Mets nothing. Bottom half of the third inning, no score in the ball game, and coming up for the second time in the ball game, Jim Hickman. The Mets had a chance to score in the second, but a fantastic play by Roy McMillan, with the bases loaded, kept the score at 0-0. Jay Hook hit the ball, and McMillan made a great backhanded catch. Here's the first pitch to Jim Hickman, batting for the second time. A curveball outside, ball 1. Jim popped up to the shortstop in the first inning. He is 0 for 1, came into the game with a .320 average. The next pitch to Hickman is inside, ball 2. Cecil Butler on the mound for the Milwaukee Braves, and he's given up only 1 hit so far through 2 innings. This is his first major league start of the 1962 season. He's appeared 5 times in relief. Now the big right-hander to the plate, high, ball 3. 3 balls and no strikes. Butler has a record of 1 win and no losses. He picked up a win when he went 4 1/3 innings against Houston. He's a big fellow, 6'4", weighs 195 pounds. He's had arm trouble throughout his career. Next pitch, high inside, ball 4. So Jim Hickman picks up a walk as the leadoff man in the third for the New York Mets with no score in the game. That's Hickman's 9th walk of the season, and it ties him with Elio Chacon for the team leadership. Second walk issued by Cecil Butler. Elio Chacon in the batter's box, a right-handed batter. Elio was the first strikeout victim of Cecil Butler. He's picked up 2 in the first inning. Elio batting .239. A throw to first base, but Hickman back easily. Elio yesterday was on base 7 consecutive times 2 walks and 5 base hits. His last base hit tied up the ball game, which was later won when Hodges hit his 364th home run. First pitch to Chacon in the dirt, dug out by Del Crandall, ball 1. Mets yesterday, with their first double-header victories, now climbing up towards the top of the ladder in the second division. Butler back to the plate with a strike called. So after 5 consecutive balls, Butler finally picks up a strike. The count 1 ball, 1 strike. Sammy Samuel at third base playing very shallow, looking for a possible bunt. No score in the game. Again, a throw to first base, but it's a lob throw. And Hickman back easily. No one out in the bottom of the third. Chacon does bunt, but this time down the first baseline, trying to beat it out. It goes foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. In a pregame interview, Elio Chacon, who speaks very little English, said he likes to hit against anybody. No one in preference, but he said when he's hitting, it doesn't make a bit of difference who the pitcher is. He's certainly a nice little fellow. Now the 1-2 pitch to Chacon. Curveball is just below the knees, ball 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Elio Chacon, who makes his home in Venezuela. Jim Hickman at first base draws a throw there, and again he's back easily. Now the right-handed pitcher into the stretch and back to the plate. A curveball way inside, ball 3. So now 3 balls, 2 strikes on Elio Chacon. Elio looking down to the third base coach, but there's only one thing to do here, that's it away. Jim Hickman at first base. We'll watch and see if he's going. Casey Stengel likes to move his men. There's the throw to first base. This time Hickman had to hustle back. Going out, a 3-2 count, no score in the game. Hickman goes, the pitch is taken inside, ball 4. So Hickman, who was running, can now walk the rest of the way, and Chacon moves down to first. That's walk number 3, issued by Cecil Butler. And it stirs up the bullpen. We'll see who they're going to get up down there. Andy Papko going to the phone in the dugout, and it's answered down the bullpen, and we'll have some action. Two walks in a row issued by Cecil Butler. And the batter coming up now, Felix Mantilla. Felix with a current 14-game batting streak going. Struck out swinging in the first inning, so he is 0 for 1. Batting .329. The first pitch to him, a call strike as Mantilla squares around and takes it to knees. Carlton Woolley is up in the bullpen for the Milwaukee Braves. Jim Hickman at second base. At first base, Elio Chacon, 2 fast men. And in the batter's box, Felix Mantilla. The on-deck batter, Frank Thomas, with no one out. Bottom half of the third. 0-0 game. Now the right-hander back to the plate, and it's bunted, but foul. So the count now, no balls, 2 strikes on Felix Mantilla. Of the regular players, Mantilla leads the club, hitting .329. Obie Landreth has a .409 average, but he's only been up 22 times going into today's game. Cecil Butler into the stretch and to the plate. A check and a swing, and the ball is fouled off the bat back on the screen, so the count will stay at 0-2. And while we have time, we pause for station identification.
At the 810 spot on your radio dial, this is WGY Schenectady.
Temperature 62 degrees.
Ralph Kiner along with Lindsey Nelson and Bob Murphy on the play-by-play from the Polo Grounds in New York City. And the score of the game, 0-0 with a count 0-2 on Felix Mantilla. The New York Mets with runners at first and second base. Cecil Butler to the plate with his two-strike pitch, and he throws a curveball. It's low for ball one. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The Yankees playing at Cleveland, trailing Cleveland by 1. The score of 3-2 at the end of 5. Whitey Ford going for his 4th victory. Donovan going for his 6th. Next pitch to Mantilla is popped up high in the air over in foul territory. Joe Adcock there makes the catch and the runners hold. So 1 man out now, and that brings up Frank Thomas. Frank came into the game today with a .298 average. He leads the club in home runs with 8. And he struck out his first time up in the 3rd inning. In that Yankee game, there were 3 home runs. Romano had 1 for Cleveland in the 1st inning with 2 on. Blanchard had 1 in the 2nd for the Yankees with no 1 on. Boyer has picked 1 up with no 1 on in the 3rd. First game of a doubleheader. The first pitch to Frank Thomas. Swung on, foul tip back in the glove of Del Crandall. Strike 1. Boston at Detroit at the end of 1.5. 0-0. Cisco and Regan there. Baltimore 2, Washington 0. In Baltimore at the end of 5. Rudolph and Fisher. Brooks Robinson had a home run for the 2-run. Next pitch to Thomas is down low. Ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Only Stan Musial has hit more visiting home runs in the Polo Grounds than Frank Thomas. Next pitch to Thomas, a curveball in the dirt, dug out again by Del Crandall, ball 2. 2 balls and 1 strike, and this sends Crandall out to the mound. Crandall last year caught the first 4 games of the season and never caught another one after that as he came up with tendonitis in his right shoulder. He claims it's fine now, and he's off to a great start this year in the batting department. Always a fine catcher. 2-1 pitch to Thomas. A let-up curveball, swung on and missed, strike 2. So now with runners at first and second, a 2-2 count with 1 out and no score in the game. Cecil Butler in his first start this year. And to the plate to Frank Thomas. A broken bat base hit into left field. Here comes Hickman in from second base. He will score. The throw there is not in time, and holding at second base, Elio Chacon. So the New York Mets go out in front as Frank Thomas picks up a base hit. And he drives in a run. That gives Thomas 18 RBIs for the season. And the Mets now a 1-0 lead. Chacon at second base. At first base, Frank Thomas, and the batter is now Marv Throneberry. A left-handed man against the pitcher, Cecil Butler. Still throwing in the bullpen for Milwaukee, Carlton Woolley. First pitch to Throneberry, curveball, call, strike 1. Marv was safe in an error in the second inning. The Mets in the second had the bases loaded, but couldn't score, but a fine play by McMillan was the cause of that. A 1-strike pitch to Throneberry. Hit on the ground to the second baseman. A chance for 2. Over to second in time. To first base in time. A double play, and that retires the side. So in the inning for the New York Mets, 1 run on 1 base hit. There were no errors, 2 walks, 1 man left, and the score at the end of 3 innings of play. The New York Mets won, the Milwaukee Braves nothing. Moving to the top of the 4th inning, the Mets with a 1-0 lead and Milwaukee coming to bat. First man to bat against Jay Hook will be Joe Adcock, then Del Crandall and Frank Bolling. Adcock, 1 of 3 strikeout victims of Jay Hook in his only appearance today. He's batting .233. And the first pitch by Jay Hook, a curveball. It's outside, ball 1. Jay through 3 has given up no runs on 2 hits. He has struck out 3 and walked 1. Looking for his 3rd victory of the season. Hook back with a changeup that's high, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. Adcock, an all-around player at LSU, quite a basketball player. 2-0 pitch, a strike call. Adcock, in his career, has really changed his batting stance. He now uses a deep crowd, something he didn't do years ago. Certainly lowers his strike zone. 2-1 pitch to Joe. Hit on the ground to Chacon, a 2-bouncer. He is up, over to first base in time. Out number 1. And now coming to the batter's box, Del Crandall. Del, batting .352 at the start of the game, was safe in an error by Chacon at shortstop in the 2nd inning. Crandall, a right-handed batter with a slightly open stance. And Jay Hook's first pitch is just outside at the knees, ball 1. Umpiring at first base, Vinny Smith. At second base, Mel Steiner. Third base, Dusty Bogus. A bouncing ball hit down to Mantilla. He is up with it. Throws underhand to first in time. Out number 2. 2 up and 2 down, and Frank Bolling steps in. Bolling popped up to the second baseman. He came on at .307. Bolling last year got off to a fine start, just like he has this year. Jay Hook's first pitch, a called strike at the knees, the fastball. Bolling in his first season in the National League after playing in the American League was a runaway choice for the All-Star position at second base. Strike called again at the knees, so it's 2 strikes and no balls. And now Jay Hook with a 2-strike pitch. It's a curveball. It's way outside, ball 1. 1 ball, 2 strikes, 2 out. 1-0 game in favor of the New York Mets. Top of the 4th inning. Now Jay Hook into the windup and back to the plate. A curveball fouled away. So the count will stay at 1-2. Bolling played many fine years at Detroit. Started playing for Detroit in 1954. 1-2 pitch to Bolling. Foul tipped off the glove of Hobie Landreth. So again, the count will hold at 1 ball and 2 strikes. Mets picked up 1 run in the 3rd inning when Frank Thomas singled to left field with Jim Hickman on second base. Milwaukee yet to score. 1-2 pitch to Bolling is high, ball 2. Bolling was traded to Milwaukee with outfielder Neil Chrisley, who was in spring training with the Mets, for catcher Dick Brown, pitcher Terry Fox, second baseman Chuck Cottier. Next pitch to him is high, ball 3. Also in that trade, Billy Bruton. Hook working on the mound, no one on, and 2 men out. Comes back to the plate. The ball hit through the middle in the center field. It's a base hit. Bolling going to first base. Holds there as Hickman comes up with the ball. And that puts a runner at first base. That is a third base hit given up by Jay Hook. It brings up Hank Aaron. Make that correction. Make that Samuel it brings up. Sammy Samuel in the batter's box, a right-handed batter. He grounded out to third in the second inning. In the sixth inning at New York, Roger Maris a home run with no one on. The score of that game at the end of 5 1/2, 4-3 in favor of Cleveland. First pitch to Samuel is fouled back on the screen. Samuel 0 for 1 in the game, took a 0.63 average into the game. Throw to first base, but Bolling back easily. Mets lead 1-0. Jay Hook to the plate inside. The ball gets away from Landreth, but holding at first base, Frank Bolling. Hobie hustled over to his left and picked it up. 1 ball, 1 strike. Jay Hook back to the plate. A curveball, a check and a swing, and it's fouled off with the bat. So the count now 1 ball and 2 strikes. Samuel played last year at Louisville, and he hit .250. Had 15 home runs, which would indicate he has a lot of power for a small fella. Weighs about 170 pounds. Jay Hook to the right-handed batter with a curveball. It's fouled down on the ground, and the count will stay at 1-2. Amado Ruperto Samuel. Teammates call him Sammy. Playing his first season in the major leagues. Jay Hook with the runner at first base and 2 outs. Back to the plate. It's outside. Ball 2. Hobie Landreth pitched out or called for a pitch out. He moved out to take it, and the pitch was almost over the plate. He had to move back to his left to get it. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Frank Bolling at first base with a short lead. And the pitch back to the plate on the outside corner. Strike 3 called. Strikeout number 4 for Jay Hook to retire the side. And in the inning for the Milwaukee Braves, no runs on 1 hit. There were no errors. 1 man was left. And the score at the end, of 3 1/2 innings of play, the New York Mets won, the Milwaukee Braves, 0. And now a word from Viceroy Cigarettes.
I was at the races. The track was fast, and the horses I backed ran dead last. I couldn't believe it, but the gal next to me had just finished picking 3 out of 3. It was plain to see I could use some advice, so I offered her a smoke, just to break the ice. She said,
I only smoke filters, but some are so mild you can hardly taste them.
and I just smiled. I said, Viceroy tastes the way you'd like a filter cigarette to taste. Not too strong, not too light. Viceroy's got the taste that's right.
That's right.
That's right. That's right. Now when I go to the track, I win, because I bring along my next of kin.
Ah, that's right.
So I want you to know, and I'll take all bets. If you smoke all 7 filter cigarettes, you'll find some too strong,
Some too light.
but Viceroy's got the taste that's right.
That's right.
That's right. That's right.
That's right, and away we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. And the first batter coming up for the New York Mets as they lead 1-0 will be Gus Bell. Then Charlie Neal and Hobie Landreth. And the first pitch to Bell is a called strike in the outside corner. Cecil Butler, the starting pitcher on the mound, has given up 2 base hits so far, but 1 run. Cecil Butler, a big right-hander, looking for his second victory. He's lost none so far this year. This is his first start. And the next pitch to Bell, a fastball swung on a miss, strike 2. Gus popped up to the third baseman in foul territory. He's 0 for 1. Left-handed batter stands way up in the front part of the batter's box and close to the plate. Butler's 2-strike pitch, a curveball outside, ball 1. Outfield playing straight away. Infield shifted to the first base side. Play Bell as a full hitter. There's a bouncing ball hit down to Joe Adcock at first base. He takes it, tags the bag, out number 1. The next batter, Charlie Neal. Charlie picked up the first base hit of the game when he singled to center field for the New York Mets in the second inning. 1 for 1. He came up to the plate in the second inning with a .276 average. Neal batting for the right-hand side. Has 3 home runs and 11 runs batted in. This base hit, a sharp one to center field. The first pitch to him popped up in foul territory over by the New York Mets dugout and going into the lower box seats for strike 1. Baltimore 2, Washington nothing at the end of 5 1/2. Detroit 2, Boston nothing at the end of 2. 1 strike pitch to Neal, line into center field, a base hit. Coming over, Hank Aaron. He picked it up on the second bound. So Charlie Neal with 2 straight hits on at first base with 1 man out. And it brings up Hobie Landreth. Hit number 3 off of Cecil Butler. Hobie walked in his only appearance. He's batting .409. 9 hits and 22 times at bat. He has 1 home run, but that was a big one. It won a ball game for the Mets, the first game of the doubleheader yesterday. Throw to first base, Neal back. First pitch to Hobie, outside, ball 1. Crandall dropped the ball, picked it up right at his feet. Neal holding at first base. Mets scored the only run of the ball game in the third inning. When with runners at first and second, Frank Thomas singled to left field, driving in Jim Hickman. Cecil Butler back to the plate, outside, ball 2. 2 balls, no strikes. In the National League at the end of 2, Cincinnati 1, Pittsburgh nothing. At the end of 3, Philadelphia and Chicago tied up at 2-2. Throw to first base. Neal had the dive back to get there. He made it. Los Angeles nothing at the end of the first. The bouncy ball hit down to the third baseman. He can't make a play as Charlie Neal was moving on it. So he went over to first base and got Hobie Landreth. Hit and run play, saving a double play possibly. Moving Charlie Neal down to second base. 2 men out, and the batter coming up, Jay Hook. Jay, in his first time up, was robbed of a base hit and possibly 2 runs batted in when Roy McMillan backhanded his smash to the shortstop position and threw, picked up a force play at second base. Left-handed batter. The first pitch to him, a fastball in the outside corner, strike 1 call. Jay is one of the few pitchers to wait his turn at bat in the on-deck circle. He likes to bat. Charlie Neal at second, and the pitch back to Jay Hook. A curveball fouled away, strike two. No balls and 2 strikes, 1-0 in favor of New York. Cecil Butler all set to pitch, went into the stretch, but Hook, after Butler had taken too much time, stepped out of the batter's box. Now we're set to go. The 2-strike pitch to Hook, a curveball just outside, a ball. Butler had trouble with a spur in his right elbow all spring long. He's had arm trouble in his history. He's throwing fine now. 1-2 pitch to Jay Hook is fouled away. So the count will hold at 1 ball and 2 strikes. He told Bertie Tebbets that no matter whether or not his arm was sore or not, he was going to throw it out. So he grabbed the ball, went out and threw every day, and he finally worked it to where he could throw fine again. Butler back to the plate with a curveball. It's top foul down the first base side. So once again, a 1-2 count. Charlie Neal at second base, back to the bag. 2 men out. And the count, 1 ball, 2 strikes on Jay Hook. Butler's pitch to Hook. A curveball, got him looking, strike 3. So Butler picks up his 4th strikeout to retire the side. And in the inning, the New York Mets, no runs on 1 hit, no errors, 1 man left. And the score at the end of 4 innings of play. The New York Mets won. The Milwaukee Braves, nothing. And now, once again, back to the microphone, Bob Murphy.
Thank you, Ralph. We'll be going along now to the 5th inning with New York in front by a score of 1-0. And the Milwaukee Braves will have Roy McMillan to lead off. No game tomorrow. The Cubs are here Tuesday night and Wednesday afternoon. I'm sure you'll find following the Mets even more enjoyable if you have among the items in your sports library the New York Mets yearbook, which consists of pictures and biographical sketches of all the players, as well as profiles of manager Casey Stengel and the coaches. The yearbook is yours for 50 cents. Address your correspondence to Mets Yearbook, Polo Grounds, New York 39. Cincinnati leading Pittsburgh 1-0 at the end of 2. Bob Friend against Bob Perky. Veda Penson homered for the only run in the game. Phillies and Cubs tied 2-2 at the end of 3. Jim Owens against Don Cardwell. Billy Klaus had a 2-run homer. They're playing a doubleheader in a single game. Dodgers nothing, Cardinals nothing after an inning and a half. Padres against Jackson. In the American League, after 5.5, Cleveland 4, the Yankees 3. Whitey Ford against Dick Donovan. 4 homers in that game already. Honey Romano, Johnny Blanchard, Clete Boyer, and Roger Maris. Jack Fisher, coming off the disabled list, making his first appearance, has blanked Washington for 6. The Orioles leading Washington 2-0 after 5.5 on a 2-run homer by Brooks Robinson. In the 5th inning, it's Roy McMillan leading off against Jay Hook. Jay's wind-up and pitch. He starts him off with a strike on the outside corner. Jay, a 25-year-old right-hander from Grays Lake, Illinois. He has good control. He usually works consistently ahead of the batters. Fly ball hit to left field. It's up and fairly deep. On the warning path is Frank Thomas, and this one is going to be gone in the upper deck for a home run. Perfect polo ground stroke on that one by Roy McMillan. A high fly hit right down the left field line and just fair inside the foul pole, nestling into the upper deck. That ties the game at 1-1. For Roy McMillan, His second home run of the year and his 10th RBI. Cecil Butler takes a strike on the outside corner. Ball was first hit. We thought Thomas might have a play on it. Outside and high. But after he moved back on the warning path and started glancing up, you knew the game was going to be tied. Swing and a miss. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Cecil Butler. Home run by Roy McMillan, the 4th hit given up by Jay Hook, and the game is even now at 1-1. A let-up taken high. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the opposing pitcher, Cecil Butler. Here's the pitch on the way. Strike 3 called. A good fastball on the outside corner. Second time that Jay Hook has fanned Cecil Butler. That's 5 strikeouts in the game for Hook, and it'll bring up Howie Bedell, the leadoff hitter. Bedell singled to center in the first. He was out on a force play at second on a beauty of a play by Elio Chacon. He drew a walk in the 3rd inning, and so Bedell is 1 for 1. Left-hand hitter, he jumps back and takes inside and low. Ball 1. Around comes the right arm, and it's right in there for a called strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Howie Bedell had a big year at Louisville last season. He hit .327. During the season, he put together a 44-game hitting streak. From Pottstown, Pennsylvania, bounced the curve foul off the right. 1 ball and 2 strikes. He's one of the reasons the New York Mets were able to acquire Frank Thomas. Braves had the young outfielders, Mac Jones, Howie Bedell, that they had to keep on the parent ball club. Pitching 1-2. Foul ball hit down the first baseline. That ball took a bad hop and almost caught Andy Pafko in the ear. Andy was just reaching down to pick it up with his bare hand, his left hand. It suddenly took a bad hop, and boy, it almost nicked him. One and 2. In comes the pitch. Ground ball slashed to shortstop. Elio Chacon is up with it near second. Throws to Throneberry in time, and there are 2 away. Busy day is short for Elio Chacon. 2 down now, nobody on. Coming up to hit will be Mac Jones, the right fielder. Jones has reached on a fielder's choice, been called out on strikes. Came into the game hitting at .327. We're in the top of the 5th inning, and the game is tied 1-1. Outside and high. 1 ball, no strikes. The Cubs will be in Tuesday night and Wednesday afternoon. Then the Mets will go out on the road. They'll open their road trip in Milwaukee with a weekend series. Pitching 1-2. Ground ball past the mound over second. A base hit into center field. He slashed that one. 5 hits now for Milwaukee. And Hank Aaron comes up. Aaron 0 for 2. Banged into a double play in the first. And was thrown out by Felix Mantilla in the 3rd inning. For 7 straight years, Aaron has played in 150 or more games. Throw to first by Jay, not in time. Firing at first, Mel Steiner at second, Dusty Backus at third, and Stan Landis working the plate. Fastball over a strike. Now Hank Aaron wants Stan Landis to look the ball over. It's all right. It goes right back to Hook. Tie game 1-1. We're in the top of the 5th inning. Mac Jones, a fast man, on first base, 2 men down. In comes the pitch to him. It misses the outside corner down around the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike. Aaron had a long home run in yesterday's game. Ball went in the upper deck in deep left field. Now Jay slowing himself up just a little bit. He's up against a tough hitter in Hank Aaron. The 1-1 pitch. A call strike. Let her high on the outside corner. Aaron objecting to the call a bit as he steps out of there to discuss it with Stan Landis. One and 2 on Henry Aaron. Elio Chacon deep at short and astride toward the hole. Mantilla deep behind third. Jim Hickman shaded toward left center. The 1-2 pitch. Ground ball through the box into center field, a base hit. Mac Jones around second. He'll hold there as Hickman charges the ball hard. Back-to-back singles now by Mac Jones and Hank Aaron. And the Braves have runners on first and second, 2 down. And Joe Adcock is coming up. Adcock has struck out and grounded out short to first. Big Joe is 0 for 2. Right here, Jay Hook up against a very dangerous hitter in Joe Adcock. Infield back deep. Playing Adcock to pull. In the outfield, very deep. Frank Thomas way out on the warning path and over toward the bullpen in left center. They give him the line. Now the pitch on the way. Outside and low, it's ball 1. Mantilla plays the line against Adcock, but in the Polo Grounds, the outfielders did not play the lines. They play the alleys. Mac Jones on second, Henry Aaron on first, 2 men away. Now Hook into his stretch. Kicks the leg, delivers. Curve ball that breaks over, a beauty. 1 ball and 1 strike. Del Crandall, the on-deck batter. Now Chacon chases Jones back to second. Jay up in pitching position. Down comes the arm. An off-speed breaking ball taken. 2 balls and a strike. Milwaukee tying the game here in the top of the 5th inning on the home run by Roy McMillan. And they have a threat going now on base hits by Mac Jones and Hank Aaron. Two and 1 on Joe Adcock. Here's the pitch on the way. Fastball in there, a call strike, 2 and 2. Now. Now Elio Chacon backs up a bit and more over toward the hole at short. Pitching 2 and 2. Strike 3 called, and Adcock knew it. He was caught looking and turned and walked away, and that's the 6th strikeout in the game for Jay Hook. 1 run, 3 hits. No errors, and 2 left on. At the end of 4.5 innings, the score... The Milwaukee Braves won, and the New York Mets won. Game tied 1-1, last of the 5th inning now, with Jim Hickman leading off against Cecil Butler. At Cincinnati, Jim Marshall hit a 3-run homer. Pittsburgh came up with 4 runs in the 3rd inning. They lead Cincinnati 4-1 at the end of 2.5. The Phillies got a run to go in front of the Cubs, 3-2 at the end of 4. Owens against Cardwell. Pitch to Hickman is taken low. 1 ball, no strikes. The Cardinals lead the Dodgers 1-0 at the end of 3. Johnny Padres against Larry Jackson. Now Cecil Butler, looking in, has his sign from Del Crandall. The wind up and pitch to Hickman. He holds up on the swing. It's over, a strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. In the first game at Cleveland at the end of 6 1/2, it's Cleveland 4 and the Yankees 3. Both starters, Whitey Ford and Dick Donovan, still in there. Ground ball hit foul down the third baseline, no play. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Jim Hickman. Jim has popped to short, drawn a walk, and he scored the New York run. He was driven in by Frank Thomas. Hickman counteeling that bat around. And now lets it come to rest on his shoulder for a moment. Butler winds the pitch. Curve is over, a beauty. Strike 3 call. That's strikeout number 5 for Cecil Butler. And right here, let's pause for station identification.
At the 810 spot on your radio dial, this is WGY Schenectady.
Bob Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kanner were at the Polo Grounds. Net sitting against Cecil Butler in the last of the 5th inning, and the game tied up. Elio Chacon, the batter, rips it foul back into the screen, and the count is strike 1. 7 innings complete now in the first game at Baltimore. The Orioles leading Washington 2-0. Jack Fisher dueling Don Rudolph. Next pitch to Elio, look out. He has to sit down and let that one go over his head. 1 ball and 1 strike. In a single game at Detroit, the Tigers lead the Red Sox 2-1 after 2.5 on a 2-run homer by Dick Brown. That's Galen Cisco against Phil Regan. The warm-ups at Minnesota, Norman Bass for Kansas City and Bonikowski for the Twins. The 1-1 pitch to Elio Chacon is inside and high. Ball 2, 2-1. Delivery. A little bit outside on a blazing fastball. He really hummed that one, and the count now is 3-1. Butler 6'4", 195 pounds. He deals off the top, and he really throws hard. Pitching. Misses outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Milwaukee gave up Dick Brown, Terry Fox, Chuck Cottier, and Billy Bruton to get Frank Bolling. Now Crandall with a short lead draws a throw and scampers back to the base. The game tied 1-1. We're in the top of the 6th inning. Fouled back into the screen. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 2 games with Chicago, Tuesday night and Wednesday afternoon. The night game starting at 8 o'clock, and the day game on Wednesday will start at 2. Then the Mets will go out on the road, visiting Milwaukee, Houston, Los Angeles, and San Francisco. They come back home to open their homestand for the big Decoration Day doubleheader on May 30th against the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's a Wednesday. Pitching 1-2. Curve is hit in the air at left center field. Running hard is Jim Hickman. He's getting there. Makes the catch in left center. Makes the long throw, trying for a double play. Relayed by Neal. Safe at first on a close play. The throw went into Crandall, who was sliding back to first. Crandall had gone all the way to second. Hickman fired that ball from the alley in left center to Charlie Neal, who relayed to Throneberry, trying to double up Crandall. But Dell came sliding back in safely. He was ahead of the throw, and the throw went into the runner. One man away on the long fly to left center, hit by Frank Bolling. Now the batter is Sammy Samuel, the third baseman. Samuel 0 for 2 has been thrown out by Felix Mantilla and taken a called third strike. Throneberry holding against the runner. The infield and the outfield straight away. Fly ball hit high and deep to left center. Back goes Jim Hickman. He's under it now. Makes the grab out in deep left center. Crandall all the way back from second base once again. That ball carried deep. Back into left center went long striding Jim Hickman to take it. Now there are two away in the top of the sixth inning, and the batter is Roy McMillan. Roy came up with the Mets leading 1-0 in the fifth inning and hit a home run. He pulled the ball right down the left field line. Game tied 1-1. Pitch by Hook is off the outside corner. 1 ball and no strikes. Now McMillan swishing that bat around. Cocks it. And the pitch is a breaking ball outside. Ball 2 at 2-0. Jay Hook working very cautiously to Roy McMillan. Roy has a perfect day going in addition to his home run. He singled to left field in the third inning. Elio Chacon deep and short and over toward the hole. Low, ball 3, and now Hook is behind on McMillan 3-0. On Roy McMillan. He goes after it, a foul ball back upstairs. The pitcher due up next. Bertie Tebbis gave the green light to Roy McMillan, and the count is 3-1. Now Jay fingers the rosin bag. Blows on his pitching hand. Del Crandall on first, 2 men down in the top of the sixth inning. Charlie Neal shaded a bit towards second. 3-1 delivery with the runner going. A swing and a miss. The peg down to second. The slide. The throw goes in the dirt out to center field. Crandall on his feet goes on to third base. Del Crandall running on 3-1 will get a stolen base. Hobie's throw was in the dirt on the second base side and went into center field. Hobie then will be charged with an error as Crandall goes on to third. Give Del Crandall a stolen base, and it's an error charge to Hobie Landry. And now the Braves have Crandall on third. The count is full, 3-2 to Roy McMillan. Jay Hook working hard, trying to get Roy McMillan. He'd like to have that pitcher leading off in the next inning. Here's the windup by Hook and the pitch. Curve is outside. He lost him. And so now Butler will be coming up with runners on first and third, 2 down. That's the third walk given up by Hook, and Hobie Landreth goes out to talk to him for a moment. Cecil Butler coming up for the third time. He's been up twice and been struck out twice. Right-handed. Now Hook into his stretch. Here's the pitch. Right in there, strike 1 call. 1-1, top of the sixth inning. The leadoff batter, Howie Bedell, the left fielder, is in the on-deck circle. Coach Bill Adair moving up to talk to the runner on third, Del Crandall. Around comes the arm. Curve outside and high. 1 ball, 1 strike. Mets scored first in the game. Frank Thomas driving in the run. McMillan tied the game with a homer. Way up high. Hobie had to reach up in a hurry to grab that one. And so it's 2 balls and a strike now on the opposing pitcher, Cecil Butler. It was almost a wild heave by Jay Hook. balls and 1 strike. Roy McMillan on first, Del Crandall on third with 2 men down. Pitching 2-1. Strike called. He came with a fastball. And the count is even now at 2-2. Hook trying to pitch out of trouble. Milwaukee with runners at the corners. There are 2 away. Pitching 2-2. Strike 3 call. Good fastball. For the 3rd straight time, Butler is called out on strikes. That's the 7th strikeout in 6 innings for Jay Hook. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 2 left on. At the end of 6.5 innings, it's the Milwaukee Braves 1 and the New York Mets 1. Frank Thomas will lead off with the New York Mets in the home half of the 6th inning. Frank drove in the New York run. With a base hit to left field back in the 3rd inning and scored Jim Hickman. Hickman had drawn a walk. Moved over to second on a walk to Elio Chacon, and then he came in to score on the base hit by Thomas. Butler out of his land. Delivers a high drive to left field. It is back fairly deep, but it'll be caught and taken by High Bedell. That ball got up and kind of died. He must have hit it pretty close to the end of the bat. When it first went off the bat, it sounded and looked as though it might have a good chance to go to the seats. But it got up there and just suddenly tailed off, and the left fielder, High Bedell, takes it. The upper deck out in left field, a couple of fellows walking along carrying a banner that says, "Love those Mets." Marv Throneberry hitting. Looks at a curve outside and low. It's ball 1. Another big banner on the upper deck in left field says, "Scout the Braves." Butler cranking up, delivers. This time the breaking pitch is over to Throneberry. 1 ball and 1 strike. Marv 0 for 2 has reached safely on an error and bounded into a double play. Swing and a miss. He went after another breaking ball. Butler giving Marv Throneberry a steady diet of slow curves. The first game is all over in Cleveland, and the Indians won the opener of the doubleheader 6-4. Donovan winning his 6th of the year without a loss. Whitey Ford, the loser. Fastball inside in the count 2-2. There were home runs in that first game at Cleveland by John Romano with 2 on. Johnny Blanchard, Clete Boyer, and Roger Maris all connecting with the bases empty for 3 of the 4 Yankee runs. Breaking ball outside, ball 3, 3-2. Pitch coming up to Marv Throneberry. Butler winds and pitches. Check swing and a slow grounder down the 3rd base line. In is Samuel. The throw, not in time. He beats it out for an infield hit. Throneberry was holding up on the swing. Tapped a slow roller down the 3rd base line and beats it out. That'll be the 4th hit in the game for the New York Mets, and it brings up Gus Bell. At the end of 4 innings in Cincinnati, the Pirates and Reds are tied up 4-4. Frank Robinson putting Cincinnati back in that game with a 2-run homer. They're in the last of the 7th at Wrigley Field. Phillies and Cubs tied 3-3. First game of a doubleheader. Now the stretch, and the pitch to Bell. In the dirt, blocked by Del Crandall. No advance by Marv Throneberry. In a single game at St. Louis at the end of 4, the Cardinals lead the Dodgers 2-0. Bell wagging that bat around, waiting on Cecil Butler. Here's the pitch to him, and it's popped up on the left side of the infield. On the skin of the infield path, Roy McMillan is under it waiting. He has it for the out, and there are two away. And now before Charlie Neal steps in to hit, we'll step out for station identification.
You're tuned to WGY 810 on your radio dial, the General Electric station, Schenectady.
Last half of the sixth inning, the game tied 1-1. Charlie Neal with 2 for 2. Up to hit now against Cecil Butler. Butler very impressive in his first major league start. Big right-hander who throws hard. Foul tipped, strike one. Bill Crandall caught that one right on the mask. The first game in Baltimore is over. Hoyt Wilhelm came on to put down an uprising, and the Orioles beat Washington 3-2 in the opener. Wilhelm the winner in relief. The Birds had to get a run in the last of the ninth to win it, and Coutinho the loser in relief. Fouled it back toward the upper deck off the bat of Charlie Neal, and the count is strike two. Taken high by Neal. Blazing fastball by Cecil Butler, and the count 1 ball and 2 strikes. 13,477 to pay to tennis this afternoon. Total crowd of 13,885. And the ball is popped high in the air to short right field. Ambling back is Frank Bolling, the second baseman, and he has it for the out that retires the side. In the sixth inning, no runs, 1 hit, no errors, 1 left on. At the end of 6, the score, the Braves 1 and the New York Mets 1.
And this afternoon, as we go to the top half of the 7th inning, we're all tied 1-1. Both starting pitchers still in the ball game. Jay Hook right now firing the warm-up toss. He's down to his battery mate, Hobie Landreth. And the Milwaukee Braves will be sending up the top of the batting order. Leadoff man Howie Bedell, followed by Mac Jones and Henry Aaron. In case you have joined us along the way, the New York Mets scored first this afternoon. In the bottom half of the third inning, Jim Hickman walked, Elio Chacon walked. Then after Felix Mantilla fouled out to first, Frank Thomas singled sharply to drive in Jim Hickman with the 1 run. Milwaukee Braves scored their 1 run in the top half of the fifth when Roy McMillan led off with a home run right down the left field line going into the stands at the foul pole. And that's the way the scoring has gone in a 1-1 ball game. 6 inning totals for the Braves, 1 run on 6 hits and 1 error. For the Mets, 1 run on 4 hits and 2 errors. So Howie Bedell comes up here for the 4th time. He has singled, walked, and grounded out. He is 1 for 2 officially. Left-hand batter and a speedster to face right-hand pitcher Jay Hook. He winds and fires, and the pitch is in there for a call, strike 1. Stan Landis is the umpire behind the plate. Tomorrow's an off day for the Mets, and they play the Chicago Cubs here at the Polo Grounds Tuesday night. Curveball hit into center field. Jim Hickman is lining it up and hauls it down. Line drive in the center, taken by Hickman. Never did get very high up into the air, a low arc. So Bedell is out. 1 away, and Mac Jones is coming up. Left-hand batter, he forced Bedell in the first inning. He struck out in the third, and he singled in the fifth. So he is 1 for 3 for the afternoon. There's a ground ball taken by Charlie Neal at second. He plays over to Thornberry in time as Mac Jones went for the first ball pitched and grounded out. 2 away for the Braves in the 7th, and Henry Aaron is coming up. Recent years, when you have spoken of complete ball players who can do it all, Henry Aaron has been one of the first mentioned. In 1960, he was chosen unanimously for the National League All-Star team. There's a pitch low for ball 1. And that was quite a tribute, unanimous selection on the All-Star team. Pitch is in there for a call strike. 1-1 now to Henry Aaron. Hit into a double play in the first inning, grounded out third to first in the third, and singled in the fifth. Henry's a rather quiet individual. Doesn't have a great deal to say. He lets that bat speak for him. Pitch is in there for a call strike. It's 1-2. Aaron now backs out of the batter's box and takes a look around. Henry Aaron has good speed as well. Manager Fred Haney says that when he was running the Braves, he didn't run Aaron more on the bases because he was afraid to risk an injury. Losing Aaron would be losing a great deal of his attack. As a line drive, going into left field for a base hit just out of reach of Felix Mantilla. Thomas kicks it around a little bit, and Aaron moves into second base. As Thomas finally comes up and relays it in now to Mantilla. So Aaron is on at second. That was a line shot. Mantilla jumped for it at third, and it was barely out of his reach. Continuing on down into left, near the line, Thomas came over, started to pick it up, dropped it, but Henry Aaron was on his way to second. Never breaking stride there, continuing right on. And so Joe Adcock comes up with 2 men out and a runner at second base. Scored as a double for Henry Aaron. Adcock is at the plate, having struck out, grounded out, and struck out. Nothing for 3 this afternoon. Big, powerful right-hand batter. Leans over the plate on a crouch. Curveball misses low and away. It is ball 1 now to Joe Adcock. The score is tied. The Mets won and the Braves won. Time call for a moment as Henry Aaron gets rid of the helmet, flinging it off the diamond all the way over to Coach Billy Adair in the coach's box at third. Now Jay Hook again is set to work as Henry Aaron takes his lead off the bag at second. Hook checks him and deals. Pitch goes high to Adcock. 2 balls and no strikes. Adcock has done a great deal of distance clouding in his time in the major leagues. He can give it a ride. Generally regarded as something of a guess hitter, and if he guesses right, can give you the long, long ride. 2-0 is the count now. Here's Hook's pitch. Sign away, ball 3. 3-0 to Adcock. Del Crandall is on deck for the Milwaukee Braves. So Hook has gone 3-0 on Joe Adcock. Turns to look around the outfield, takes the glove off. Adcock, in the meantime, is looking down to Billy Adair, the coach at third, to see if he is turned loose on 3-0 or if manager Bertie Tebbetts wants him to take. Adair, the coach at third, relays the signs from manager Tebbetts to the batter. Here's the pitch. Turn him loose, and he took a rip. Swing and a miss. 3-1. When manager Bertie Tebbetts was managing at Cincinnati, he had Jimmy Dykes as his third base coach. Dykes is on Tebbetts' coaching staff here, but keeps him in the dugout. Time call as Howie Landreth goes out to check with Jay Hook. Andy Pafko coaches at first, and Billy Adair coaches at third. Roy Tebbetts with Jimmy Dykes along with the manager in the dugout, and pitching coach Whitlow Wyatt is in the bullpen. Now Charlie Neal is called into the conference of Landreth and Hook at the mound. All right, they're set. With 3 balls and 1 strike. The count to Big Joe Adcock. Got back in the lineup in the second game of yesterday's doubleheader after having been out with the effects of a cold and laryngitis. Henry Aaron leads at second base. The 3-1 pitch on the way. Swung on as a drive deep to center. Hickman is moving over, and he hauls it down, putting out. Jim Hickman ranging back and over to haul down the drive off the bat of Joe Adcock on a 3-1 pitch. And the Milwaukee Braves are out in the top half of the 7th inning with no runs on 1 hit. The double by Aaron. No errors and 1 man left. So at the end of 6 1/2 innings of play at the Polo Grounds, the score is Milwaukee Braves 1 and the New York Mets 1. We're going now to the bottom half of the 7th inning. With the score tied 1-1, and the New York Mets are sending up catcher Hobie Landreth, who has walked and grounded out here this afternoon. A crowd of 13,477 paid this Sunday afternoon. Cecil Butler, the starter, still in there for the Milwaukee Braves. Dips into the windup. Here's the pitch to Landreth. It's in there. Fastball for a called strike one. Cecil Butler, 24 years old, from Dallas, Georgia, in his first major league start for the Milwaukee Braves here at the Polo Grounds today. Previously relieved 5 times for the Braves this season. Curveball, cut on, ground ball to short. Roy McMillan takes it, fires it on to Adcock in time, and Landreth is out. One away, and pitcher Jay Hook is now shedding the jacket in the on-deck circle. Proceeds to the plate. He is a left-hand batter. He has been up twice. Came up with the bases loaded in the second inning and forced Landreth, although he hit the ball sharply on the ground to McMillan at short. And Hook struck out in the 4th inning. So he is nothing for 2 for the day. The New York Mets batting in the bottom half of the 7th inning with the score tied 1-1. Butler is 6 feet 4 inches tall. He weighs 198 pounds. Big fella. Dips into the full windup. The pitch is in there for a called strike one. He fired the fastball. Jim Hickman has now moved to the on-deck circle for the Mets. Now, an attempt to drag the bunt by Jay Hook. He was trying to drag it past pitcher Cecil Butler, and he brought Frank Bolling in at a gallop from his position at second, but missed it and took it to strike 2. Again, Butler's ready to work. Swung on and foul back into the upper deck behind the plate, out of play. Count holds at 2 strikes on Jay Hook, with 1 man out and nobody on base for the Mets. New York Mets having won 4 of their last 5 games to move up in the National League standings. Curveball, cut on and chopped, foul. High hop over in foul territory, taken by Crandall. Jay Hook halfway down to first, turns and comes back now. Count to him is still strike 2. Chicago Cubs in for a night game Tuesday and a single game on Wednesday afternoon. All right, here is 2-strike pitch. That was high and away. It's 1-2 now. You know, there are managers in baseball who do not believe that a batter should ever be allowed to hit a 2-strike pitch. One ball and 2 strikes to count now to Jay Hook. That's high and away. It's ball 2, 2-2. Cecil Butler getting the sign. Into the windup and the pitch. Swung on and has a fly ball to left field. Howie Bedell is over and he takes it for the out. Appeared to lose it right at the last moment and ducked out of the way, turned his head, but took it in the glove right on his shoulder, but turned his head sharply. Now relays the ball in. 2 men out, nobody on. And Jim Hickman coming up now for the New York Mets. Hickman popped to short, walked and struck out. Took a called 3rd strike. And now time has been called and Bedell has asked for the sunglasses. Apparently lost that one. Right at the last moment he got it up into the sun. So now time has been called and he's come over into foul territory down the line and left as the glasses have been taken out to him. They're taken out in the case and he is selecting a pair. Putting them on now. Two men out and nobody on base for the Mets. Cecil Butler on the mound is waiting for Bedell to get into position.
as Hickman steps into the batter's box. Hickman has 5 home runs this season. The score is tied here, 1-1. The Braves and the Mets in the final game of the current series. The Mets leading in the series 2-1. Pitch is in there, fastball, called. Strike 1 to Jim Hickman, with Elio Chacon now in the on-deck circle. Blown away. Watch that one outside. It's 1-1. Baseball cannot get much more competitive, much more closely competitive, much more exciting than this series has been between New York Mets and the Milwaukee Braves. Pitch is outside. 2 balls and 1 strike now to Jim Hickman. Mano Samuel at third plays Hickman to pull over there close to the bag. As it goes down the left field line, it's a fair ball going to the wall. Hickman turns at first, is heading for second. Bedell's throw is coming into second. Hickman slides in safely at second base. Frank Bolling took the throw into Bedell, but Hickman, with long striding speed, slid in safely for a double. The line shot down the line and left. One out to the wall, and Bedell played the ricochet perfectly. The rebound off the wall. So now the Mets have Hickman in scoring position at second, with 2 men out and Elio Chacon coming up. That was base hit number 5 for the Mets off Cecil Butler. Chacon, right-hand batter, holds the bat high. The curveball is taken inside for ball 1. This is as long as Cecil Butler has ever pitched in a major league game. This is his first start. He had 5 relief appearances previously, the longest 4 and a third innings. That's the curveball that got in there. It's 1-1. Butler's looking into Del Crandall to get the sign as Hickman leads off the bag at second base. Butler's into the stretch and the pitch. In there for a call, strike 2. And Elio Chacon steps out of his box, walks around a little circle and comes back in. 1-2. Chacon broke out in a rash of base hits yesterday. 3 for 3 in the second game, 2 for 4 in the first game. Had a couple of walks into the bargain. He was all over the ballpark yesterday in the doubleheader, won by the Mets. There's the 1-2 pitch outside. It's 2-2 now to Chacon. The score is tied. The Mets won and the Braves won, with Felix Mantilla now in the on-deck circle. Cecil Butler looks in now to get the sign from Crandall. Hickman leaves at second. 2-2 pitch swung on. There's a ground ball foul on the third baseline. Foul ball. Out of Samuel. Had the dash over to try to backhand it. It's a foul ball. Coming into this afternoon's ball game, the New York Mets had hit a home run in every game played at the Polo Grounds this season. They do not yet have one in this ball game. That's tipped off foul. A check swing by Chacon, who was going to take a pitch that appeared to be high. Instead, it hit his bat and came on back onto the screen. So the count holds at 2-2. Score tied here, 1-1. The New York Mets scored first, and then Roy McMillan hit a homer for the Braves to tie it up. Hickman leads at second base. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Tight. It's out full. 3-2 now to Elio Chacon. Already this season, these Milwaukee Braves have been involved in 12 one-run games. They have won 5 and lost 7 of the games decided by 1 run. 1-1 to 3-2 pitches hit to the right side. True for a base hit. Hickman turns to third, and he's coming home as Mac Jones' throw is coming on not in time, and Hickman scores. Elio Chacon with a single to right. To score Hickman from second, and the Mets lead by a score of 2-1. And that brings up Felix Mantilla, who he struck out, fouled out to first and flied to right. Felix Mantilla started the day as the 8th leading hitter in the National League. His batting average starting the day, 329. He's a right-hand batter. Chacon leads at first. Cecil Butler fires over to first, not in time to get Chacon. The Mets with 1 run on here in the bottom half of the 7th inning. They take the lead by a score of 2-1. Butler again is into the stretch position. The pitch is on the way, low and away. It's ball 1. Mantilla looks down to Sully Amos, the coach at third. Frank Thomas is in the on-deck circle for the Mets. Set to go once again in there, swinging the timber. As Butler looks into Crandall to get the sign, has it. Chacon takes his lead at first. Adcock holding against the runner there. The throw over to first, not in time. Chacon dashing back. There were 2 men out. Chacon is an exciting ball player. Loves to run. There's a swing and a ground ball to short. Roy McMillan up with it, goes over to Bolling for the force at second, then retires the side. So Mantilla has forced Chacon. Play going from McMillan to Frank Bolling. And the Mets are out in the bottom half of the 7th inning, but not before they have gone ahead with 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and 1 left. And at the end of 7 full innings of play, the score is New York Mets 2 and the Milwaukee Braves 1. Now here is the first pitch to Del Crandall, fouled off. Right off his foot for strike 1. The end of an inning and a half, Kansas City A's and the Minnesota Twins, no score, Bass against Bonikowski. So that's the way scores are going elsewhere in the major leagues. And right here, Milwaukee Braves are batting in the top half of the 8th inning. With the Mets leading them 2-1, Del Crandall up has been on an error, grounded out, and walked. So he's nothing for 2 officially, and the count to him right now is strike 1. Pitch got a corner, and it's a called strike. As Jay Hook curved him and caught one on the outside for strike 2 count. Frank Bolling is now on deck for the Milwaukee Braves. Slow curveball that is punched off the glove of Mantilla, going on out into left field, and Crandall turns at first, holds on as Frank Thomas comes up with the ball and fires it back in the hole, and Mantilla came over, barely deflected it. It goes as a base hit for Del Crandall. A single to left, and that will bring up Frank Bolling, right-hand batter. He is 1 for 3 this afternoon. Crandall at first base, of course, represents potential tying run, so the Mets, in anticipation of a possible sacrifice attempt, have moved to Felix Mantilla, and even with the bag at third. Marv Thornberry at first holding against the runner, but in a position to charge. And now Hovey Landreth is called time. He's going to the mound, and as he does, in order to allow our stations to identify themselves, we pause now for station identification.
Time for...
All right, Landreth comes back to assume his position behind the plate. This is Lindsey Nelson with Ralph Kiner and Bob Murphy at the Polo Grounds. No count as yet to Frank Bolling at the plate. Takes the pitch low for ball 1. He was not bunting on that pitch. He watched it over. He looks down now to Billy Adair to see what manager Bertie Tebbetts wants him to do with this one. Swung on and has a fly ball down the line and right. It is hitting the foul pole, and it's a home run for Frank Bolling. It hits the foul pole, and it's a home run for Frank Bolling, scoring. Del Crandall ahead of him. Right down the line and right, and hit the pole between decks. Puts the Milwaukee Braves out in front in the ballgame by a score of 3-2 with nobody out. And Amato Samuel coming up. Pitcher's bunted down to third baseline, foul ball. Samuel coming back now to pick up the bat, bunting for the base hit. He had sped down to first base. Bob Henley and Bob Shaw had been throwing in the bullpen for the Braves. That pitch goes high, and it's ball one. But now that the Braves have gone ahead, the action in the bullpen has subsided. Manager Bertie Tebbets had him going out there in case they got down to the pitcher, and he wanted to use a pinch hitter. Tried to check the swing, but he goes as a strike. Umpire Stan Landis behind the plate says Samuel did bring it around 4 enough, and it is a called strike to him. It's 1 ball and 2 strikes now. Pitch misses low and away. Action in the bullpen for the New York Mets now. Bob Miller and Craig Anderson throwing in the bullpen. Craig Anderson got credit for both victories yesterday in relief. Here's a curveball hit on the ground. Mancia can't get it. It goes through. On out into left field. It scored as an error on Mancia. Mancia got a slow start, came over and was going to glove it with one hand. Instead, he didn't impede it at all. It continued right on out into left field, and the official score says error. The official scorer says error. Man operating the scoreboard was showing a hit sign, but the official scorer gave it the error sign immediately. And now here is Roy McMillan, batting number 8 in the batting order. The single and a home run to his credit today. That's a pitch out. Ball 1.
This is WGY Schenectady.
Jay Hook throws over to first, but not in time to get Amato Samuel. It's in there for a call strike. 1-1 now to McMillan. With the Mets leading by 1 run in the top of the 5th, McMillan had a home run that tied it up at that point. And when the Mets took the lead again 2-1, Frank Bolling has homered with Crandall on base to put the Braves out in front by a score of 3-2. And they have Amato Samuel on at third, or rather on at first, with nobody out. The drive foul down the right field line into the stands and out of play. So the count to McMillan is 1 ball and 2 strikes. Scoreboard total has now been rearranged to score that play on Samuel as an error. Throw to first is not in time, rolls a few feet away from Marv Thornberry. He recovers and fires it back on over to Jay Hook at the mound. Curveball goes high to McMillan. It's 2-2 now. Still nobody out for the Braves, batting in the top half of the 8th inning, and they have 2 runs in this inning. Craig Anderson, Bob Miller, both right-handers, still throwing in the bullpen under the supervision of Met pitching coach Red Ruffing. Pitch to McMillan, swung on, and there's a drive foul that is going down the left field line and into the upper deck. But a foul ball. The count holds at 2-2. Pitcher Cecil Butler due up next for the Milwaukee Braves. There is right now no action in the bullpen of the Braves. Two balls, 2 strikes to McMillan.
ground ball going to Charlie Neal. He steps on the bag, throws to first in time. Double play. Roy McMillan hitting into a double play. Charlie Neal, who stepped on the bag and threw on to first. Two men out, nobody on. And Cecil Butler is going to bat for himself. Started up there without the hard hat. Goes back now to get the helmet. Takes the soft cap and puts it in his hip pocket. Many ball players do that. Some don't want to be bothered with it. In Chicago, the Phillies have scored 4 runs in the top half of the 8th inning, so that they now lead the Chicago Cubs by a score of 7-6 at the end of 7 1/2. There is a pitch that is low to Cecil Butler. He's been up 3 times, struck out all 3 times, still looking for his first major league hit. There's a ground ball to Charlie Neal. He has it. Lays over to Thornberry in time, and Butler is out. So that in the top half of the 8th inning, the Milwaukee Braves got 2 runs on 2 hits. There was 1 Met error, and there was nobody left on base. So at the end of 7 1/2 innings of play, the score is the Milwaukee Braves 3 and the New York Mets 2. As we go to the bottom half of the 8th inning, the New York Mets will send up Frank Thomas, Marv Thornberry, and Gus Bell. Cecil Butler, the starter for the Milwaukee Braves, still in there as the Mets trail by 1 run. Third baseman Amato Samuel moves over near the bag to play Thomas. Has a check swing foul ball off the end of the bat and right down into the dirt. Goes for strike 1 to Frank Thomas. Manager Bertie Tebbets out of the dugout now, coming out toward home plate. Stan Landis, the umpire behind the plate, explaining the call to Tebbets. Apparently the call is ball 1. Apparently the call is ball 1, and Tebbets wanted the explanation of that and got it. Pitch is high, ball 2. He got it, we didn't, but the count is ball 2 and strike, no strikes. That is swung on and fouled off. So it's 2-1 now. First pitch appeared to have been fouled off the end of the bat, apparently not, as it is 2 balls and 1 strike now to Frank Thomas. Well, now Stan Landis has called time, turns around to the press box to notify both scoreboards that the count is 2 strikes, so it was fouled off, and that was the explanation. So we'll get this count straightened out in a moment. That pitch is high, so now it is 2-2. 2 balls, 2 strikes to count to Thomas. The first one was fouled off, and that was why Tebbets was so easily satisfied with that explanation. 2-2. Curveball is full foul on the ground. So the count holds to Thomas, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Cecil Butler going after his second win of the season, brings the pitch inside for ball. It's 3-2. So it's a full count to Thomas. And 24-year-old Cecil Butler is faced with the problem of a payoff pitch. Into the windup, and the pitch is on the way. Swung on, ground ball to third base. Tom Whale has it. The long throw across the diamond to Adcock in time, and Thomas is out. 1 away, nobody on, and Marv Thornberry is coming up. Thornberry beat out an infield hit in the 6th inning. Gone on an error in the 2nd and hit into a double play in the 3rd. So he is 1 for 3 officially this afternoon. Well, here is a man capable of hitting the ball all sorts of distances. During his minor and major league career, he's had a few tape measure jobs. But
has not had a home run this season, either with the Baltimore Orioles or the New York Mets. Swinging a foul ball coming back. Cecil Butler into the windup. Pitches inside. Brought the fastball in that time. It's 1-1. Gus Bell is now on deck for the Mets as the Milwaukee Braves lead by a score of 3-2 in the bottom half of the 8th inning at the Polo Grounds. Butler again is set to work. Pitch is on the way. It's low for a ball. 2-1. Thornberry ready to rip that one. Took the stride, but checked the bat. It's 2 balls and 1 strike. Shining brightly here at the Polo Grounds. Swinging a foul ball, pulled to the right side, rolling off, foul and out of play. 2 balls and 2 strikes now to Thornberry. When originally signed, Marv and his brother Fay formed a brother combination. Marv Thornberry, Fay Thornberry. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Struck him out. That is strikeout number 6 for Cecil Butler. He has walked 2. There are 2 men out for the Mets. Nobody on base, and Gus Bell coming up. Bell is nothing for 3 today. Fouled out to third, grounded out to first, and popped short. Bottom half of the 8th inning with the Braves leading the Mets by 1 run. That's when it's going toward right field. It's up and it's going. It is gone. A foul ball. Ever so close. And Bell now turns reluctantly and is coming back to home plate. Mac Jones in right field did not move at all because it was obvious the net was up high enough. But going foul by the scantest of margins. And a disappointed Gus Bell comes back to the plate. Got a hold of that one and gave it a ride, but it goes foul just by inches as Vinnie Smith, the umpire at first, gave it the call. There's a swing and a miss, and it's strike 2 now to Gus Bell. Now Bell steps back again, swings the bat and comes back into the batter's box. Thought he had the home run, and so did we, for that matter. 2-strike count. He watches low, and it's ball 1. 1-2 now. Charlie Neal is on deck for the Mets. Cecil Butler looking in to get the sign from Del Crandall. Into the windup. Here's the pitch. Swung on, and this is popped up behind the bag at third in foul territory. Tom Whale giving it a run. Did he have a play? He stabs it with one hand for the out. Backhanded it near the railing in front of the box seats. So that Bell is fouled out. And in the bottom half of the 8th inning, the Mets are out in order. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. And at the end of 8 full innings of play, the score is the Milwaukee Braves 3 and the New York Mets 2. We're going now to the top half of the 9th inning. And the New York Mets are bringing on a new pitcher. It is Craig Anderson, who was a double winner yesterday. So Craig Anderson doubtless will get a hand when he is announced here at the Polo Grounds. He is walking in now, has reached the infield area. Here's the announcement. There is the greeting for Craig Anderson, who got credit for both victories of the New York Mets yesterday. He has strung together 9 scoreless innings consecutively in relief, has won 3 games. So Anderson comes in relief of Jay Hook, who pitched 8 innings, in which he gave up 3 runs on 9 hits. He struck out 7 and walked 3. A very creditable performance by Jay Hook this afternoon. Craig Anderson will be facing the top of the batting order for the Milwaukee Braves here in the top of the ninth inning. Howie Bedell, Mac Jones, and Henry Aaron. Craig Anderson is a right-hander. He is 23 years old, was selected in the expansion draft by the New York Mets off the roster of the St. Louis Cardinals. Howie Bedell, left-hand batter and a speedster, singled in the first inning, walked in the third, grounded out short to first in the fifth, and flied to center in the seventh. 1-3 and a walk. Braves leading by a score of 3-2. It's in there for a called strike one to Howie Bedell. Swing and a miss. Two quick strikes on Bedell. Craig Anderson now takes a moment to rub the gloss off the ball. Wind blowing directly in here at the Polo Grounds from center field. Curveball comes inside. It's 1-2, a sharp breaking curveball. Howie Bedell started the day with a batting average of 221. Swinging a ground ball to the right side. Charlie Neal has it. Plays over to Throneberry, and Bedell is out. Gets down to first in a hurry. So there's one away, and Mac Jones coming up now for the Braves. Forced Bedell in the first inning, struck out in the third, singled in the fifth, and grounded out in the seventh. So he is 1 for 4 today. Tall, thin, left-hand batter. Right-hander Craig Anderson with the windup. Pitch is inside for ball. No activity in either bullpen at this moment. With the Braves batting here in the top half of the ninth inning. That pitch is low for a ball. So Craig Anderson is behind to Jones, 2 balls and no strikes. Henry Aaron is swinging the bats in the on-deck circle for the Braves. There's a 2-0 pitch to Mac Jones. Swing and a miss. He was turned loose and took a full cut at the 2-0 pitch. It's 2-1 now. He's a dangerous man at the plate anytime. He can ride the baseball. Holds that bat high. Pitches right down the pike. Fastball in there for a call strike 2. Threw it past him. 2-2. Craig Anderson working here with 1 man out and nobody on base for the Braves. Pitch is inside, so it's a full count now to Mac Jones. Jones again. Swing the bat. Here's the pitch. Fouled off. So the count holds at 3 balls and 2 strikes. Paid attendance here this afternoon, 13,447. Tomorrow's an off day for the Mets, and the Chicago Cubs will be in on Tuesday night for a single game at 8 p.m. and a single game on Wednesday afternoon. Here's a payoff pitch to Jones, swung on and fouled off. The count holds 3-2. Obie Landers comes over to retrieve this one and flips it over to umpire Stan Landis, who examines it and says it's all right, tosses it back out. So again, Craig Anderson is faced with the problem of a payoff pitch to Mac Jones. He bats number 2 in the batting order of Bertie Tebbett's Milwaukee Braves. Here's a pitch, high, ball 4, he walked him. That is the first walk given up by Anderson, of course. Jay Hook walked 3, so that is the 4th walk given up to the Braves, and it brings up Henry Aaron. Hit into a double play, grounded out third to first, single and double. Ever dangerous Henry Aaron. Extremely fast hand. He's slight of build. He weighs 170, but has power in all directions. Now he steps back out of the batter's box and wants something. boy brings him out another bat. He looks at the two together. Wants still another bat. Now he has the one he wants. And he got all the way up there before he discovered he didn't have the bat he wanted. Mac Jones, base runner at first, with one man out. Craig Anderson steps off the rubber, and Jones shortens up his lead. All right, Anderson is into pitching position. Jones leads. The pitch to Aaron is popped up to shortstop. Elio Chacon, with the glasses flipped down, back on the outfield grass, makes the catch for the out. No advance by Jones at first. Aaron went for the first ball pitched and popped out to Elio Chacon. Two away, runner at first. Big Joe Adcock coming up now. Struck out, grounded out short to first, struck out and flied to center. Nothing for 4 today. Big Joe, a powerful right-hand batter. Two men out for the Braves in the top of the ninth. Here's the pitch to Adcock. Swung on and has a fly ball going deep to right. It is a foul ball into the upper deck to the right of the foul pole. And as the stands buzzing, it's strike one. Mac Jones returns to the bag at first. In case you'd like to look ahead to the bottom half of the ninth inning, the New York Mets are scheduled to send up Charlie Neal, Hobie Landreth, and the pitcher. Throw over to first is not in time. Mac Jones got back safely. Here's a pitch to Adcock. Swung out and missed for strike two. So it is a 2-strike count. St. Louis, Larry Jackson still has the Dodgers shut out after 7 innings, and the Cardinals lead them 2-0. John Padres is pitching for Los Angeles. 2-strike count to Joe Adcock. Mac Jones takes his lead off first. Throw over to first is not in time. Milwaukee Braves leading the Mets by a score of 3-2 here. Braves batting in the top half of the ninth inning. Adcock steps back out of the batter's box, and time is called. Now he comes back in. 2-strike count to him. Pitch out. It's 1-2. Jones leads as Anderson looks in to get the sign from catcher Hobie Landreth. Shakes off one. Now has the pitch he wants. Into the stretch position. Throw over to first. Jones got back safely, but a close play there that time. Thornberry had the ball on him and a close play on Mac Jones at first base. Shortens up a little here to pitch. Swung on and missed. Strike three. Struck him out. So Anderson strikes out Adcock, and in the top half of the ninth inning, Milwaukee Braves got no runs on no hits, no errors, and 1 man left. The end of 8 1/2 innings of play at the Polo Grounds. The score is Milwaukee Braves 3 and the New York Mets 2. Like the song says, people everywhere sing out, "My beer is Rheingold, the dry beer." And dry tells you why. Yes, sir. Dry tells you Rheingold has a brisk, bright, clean taste all its own. Discover the difference dry makes. Pour yourself a tall, refreshing glass of Rheingold Extra Dry and enjoy it along with the ball game. We're going out of the bottom half of the ninth inning. Before we do, in order to allow our stations to identify themselves, we pause now for station identification.
You're listening to WGY 810 on your radio dial, the General Electric Station, Schenectady.
Now for the Milwaukee Braves, a defensive change. Tommy Aaron is in at first base. Tommy Aaron is playing first base defensively for the Milwaukee Braves. Charlie Neal is up for the Mets. Cecil Butler's pitch is taken inside for ball one. Neal today singles, and pops second. Mets trailing by 1 run going into the bottom half of the 9th inning. Cecil Butler in his first major league start for the Milwaukee Braves has come all the way. Here's a drive from the left field, but Howie Bedell ranges over and hauls it down. On the button, a line drive into left center, pulled down, and there's one away. Coming up now, Hobie Landreth. Hobie Landreth, who pulled out the first game for the Mets yesterday with a home run into the right field stand, his first of the season. He's a left-hand batter. Butler's pitch goes high for ball 1. Hobie stands 5 feet 8 inches tall. Ball 1 count to him. Up and the pitch swung on a ground ball going to the right side. Bolling has it at second place to Tommy Aaron, 2 men out. And now Ed Boucher is going to bat for Craig Anderson. Ed Boucher is going to bat for Craig Anderson, and it is up to him as far as the Mets are concerned. Two men out, nobody on base. The Mets trailing by 1 run, and Ed Boucher is coming up. Pitch to him is low for ball 1. Bob Henley is throwing in the bullpen for the Milwaukee Braves. Here's the windup and the pitch. Swung on and missed. 1-1. Boucher gave that one a ripple. Jim Hickman is in the on-deck circle now for the Mets. Boucher swinging the bat. Waiting for the pitch from Butler. It's on the way. Foul back onto the screen and out of play. Rebounding back onto the field. 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Boucher. Exciting and close ball game all the way, and it's come down to 2 men out in the bottom half of the 9th. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Struck him out. Strikeout number 7 for Cecil Butler, who gets the victory as the ball game is over. Butler getting congratulations all around. His first major league complete game. It was his first major league start, and he ended it with a strikeout of Boucher. Strikeout number 7 for him for the day. We'll be back with the final summary and totals in just a moment. In the bottom half of the 9th inning, the Mets got no runs on no hits, no errors, and nobody left. The final score of the ball game, Milwaukee Braves 3 and the New York Mets 2. You know, the New York area has just about everything. It's the most wonderful place in the world. Yes, sir, you name it, New York's got it. Parks, beaches, baseball, football, golf, lakes, amusements. People in New York have a lot to choose from, and that goes for beers, too. There are quite a few brands of beer on the market. I think it's really something that of all the brands of beer available, New Yorkers have made Rheingold Extra Dry their favorite. That's quite a tribute to the quality of Rheingold. Rheingold is brewed of the choicest ingredients, brewed the long, slow, costly way, the extra dry way. And Extra Dry tells you why Rheingold is so wonderful, so much more refreshing. It's beer as beer should taste, brisk and bright and clean, clear through. Why not enjoy the extra refreshment of Rheingold Extra Dry beer along with the game? Join all the millions who say, my beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. Well, here at the Polo Grounds, the Milwaukee Braves have pulled out a 1-run decision over the New York Mets by a score of 3-2, so that the two teams have split the 4-game series. The Milwaukee Braves won by 8-5 on Friday night. The Mets won 2 yesterday, and the Braves came back to win this afternoon. Jay Hook was the starter, and he went 8 innings for the New York Mets. Craig Anderson coming on to relieve him, and Craig Anderson stretched his string of scoreless innings pitched to 10 by getting the Braves out with no damage in the 9th inning. Cecil Butler, in his first major league start, went all the way to get the victory, his second of the season, for the Milwaukee Braves. The New York Mets scored first in the ball game as they pushed across a run in the 3rd inning. Jim Hickman walked, Elio Chacon walked, and then Frank Thomas singled to score Jim Hickman.
But the Milwaukee Braves tied it up in the top half of the fifth on Roy McMillan's home run. And then the New York Mets again went ahead in the bottom half of the seventh inning when Jim Hickman doubled and Elio Chacon singled him home. But then the Milwaukee Braves came right back in the top half of the eighth. Del Crandall single, and Frank Bolling, a right-hand batter, hit a home run to right that put the Braves out in front for the first time in the ball game, 3-2, and that is the way the ball game ended. The final totals for the Milwaukee Braves: 3 runs on 9 hits and 1 error. For the New York Mets, 2 runs on 6 hits and 3 errors. The winning pitcher, Cecil Butler, who now has won 2 and lost none, and the losing pitcher for the New York Mets was Jay Hook, who now has won 2 games and lost 2. And that wraps up another New York Mets game. Sure hope you enjoyed it. Ryan Gold certainly enjoyed bringing it your way. Looking at our schedule, we see that the Mets next face the Chicago Cubs here at the Polo Grounds on Tuesday night. We'll be on the air Tuesday night at 7:55, and we'll all be on hand to bring you the action.